When we consider famous figures from history, we often tend to categorize them as either good or bad. Examples of individuals commonly labeled as bad include Uncle Dolph, Papa Stalin, Mao, and Pol Pot. Additionally, figures such as Jeffrey Dahmer or Jeffrey Epstein come to mind. Generally, we perceive these individuals as thoroughly negative characters in history. However, what comes to mind when thinking of figures like Churchill, Gandhi, or George Washington? It may surprise you to learn that these individuals also had their moments of wrongdoing and even exhibited evil behavior. Just because history often portrays them as heroes or good people, it doesn't negate the fact that they too engaged in morally questionable actions. In this video, I will provide examples of historically good figures doing unwholesome things. Number 1. Mahatma Gandhi. When Mahatma Gandhi comes to mind, people often envision a gentle, peace-loving individual. Some even elevate him to the status of the Indian Messiah or a saint. While his story is widely circulated, one might wonder, is it entirely accurate? Initially, it's essential to acknowledge Gandhi's pivotal role in India's independence movement against British rule. His advocacy for nonviolent protest not only inspired leaders like Nelson Mandela, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and former President Barack Obama, but also shaped their approaches to fighting for racial equality. However, delving deeper, it becomes evident that Gandhi's beliefs regarding racial equality were inconsistent with his non-violent principles. Gandhi's stance on racial equality was, in fact, contrary. Whenever Gandhi mentioned South Africans, he used the term Kafirs, which was akin to the N-word at that time. His disassociation from Africans was apparent, viewing them as inferior to Indians. This perspective stemmed from Gandhi's adherence to the caste system. The caste system separates Hindus into 4 different classes. In ranking order, the Brahmins are priests and academics, the Kshatriyas are kings and warriors, the Vaishyas are merchants and landowners, the Shrudras are peasants and commoners, and the untouchables are latrine cleaners and street sweepers. Gandhi was a Vaishya and firmly believed in the caste system. If that's not bad enough, he also thought that the caste system also applied to the rest of the world. He placed white people at the top and black people at the bottom. He asserted that Indians were secondary on the hierarchy. This division of racial identity on a hierarchical scale highlights Gandhi's racist beliefs that should not be ignored from the narrative. He not only wanted to separate the Indian fight for rights from the African fight for rights, but also wanted to partner with whites to subjugate other races he believed to be lower on the civilized scale. Jez Gandhi, eat a chill pill. One not as known fact about Gandhi is that he had some weird sexual habits he followed and forced onto others, including family. It is famously known that Gandhi took a vow of celibacy, and it is also well known that he kept it for many years. His close associates documented that he had celibacy tests conducted regularly. This involved sleeping next to young, naked women without participating in sexual activities. He would often select his grandnieces for the task of sleeping naked with him. This religiously justified molestation would continue on for quite some time and would cause a great deal of emotional trauma for his grandnieces and other young women in his ashram, a place for spiritual and religious retreats. According to one woman he slept with, he said, "Despite my best efforts, the organ remained aroused. As he grew older, he would continue to use his position of power to sexually abuse young women." I will now let my good friend Charlie take over to talk about the next historical person we have on our list.
Thank you, Daniel. Number 2, Winston Churchill. Despite Churchill's pivotal role as a key figure in defeating the Nazis during World War II, we cannot overlook his earlier life. Churchill was a staunch imperialist who endorsed violent operations against non-British populations, even participating in such actions himself. He engaged in raids on local communities in Africa, destroying their crops and homes. Churchill reportedly took pleasure in these raids, boasting about shooting at least 3 individuals whom he derogatorily referred to as savages after a raid in Sudan. When concentration camps were built in South Africa for white Boers, he said they produced the minimum of suffering. The death toll was almost 28,000, and when at least 115,000 black Africans were likewise swept into British camps, where 14,000 died, he wrote only of his irritation that Kafirs should be allowed to fire on white men. Later, he boasted of his experiences there. It was great fun galloping about.
Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you have learned something new in this video. Part 2 will soon be on its way. Please like and subscribe, and we hope to see you again. Goodbye.